Good to know. We got it figured out. Hi there, everybody. My name is Morgan, and I'm trying my best. And welcome to another video. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk about the subject that we're talking about today because it's books, and I love books. I recently graduated from grad school, and as anybody who has gone to any amount of school knows, assigned reading can suck the absolute joy out of all of the reading. However, I consider myself to be a book person, and as such, I own a heck of a lot of books. Insert shot here of books. Knowing that about myself, I wanted to start reading again. And right now we're in the middle of a quarantine. I lost my job in April. No better time, really. As a result, I've been buying a lot of books, and to my surprise, I've actually finished quite a few books in the month of July. I've finished 7 books in the month of July, which is amazing, and I'm very proud of myself. That's the highest volume of reading I've been doing since quarantine started. I wanted to share some of the things I've learned about reading for pleasure with you, my YouTube audience. So, like a lot of things in your life, reading is a habit. I remember when I was in elementary school, I used to get to the library before school started and just find books to read and devour them. And I would do this in the middle of class, when I had my work done, when I didn't have my work done, when the teacher was talking, when we were supposed to be doing our homework, a lot of the time. And at one point, I just stopped doing this, and it makes me kind of sad. And there are times when I've gotten back into the habit. A lot of the time, it's when I've had a break from school, uh, but overall, it's just a lot to fit into my life. Knowing that reading is a habit means that you can use a lot of habit forming techniques in order to start reading for pleasure. It sounds kind of prescriptive, where you force yourself to read until it becomes a habit. And if you're reading out of habit, is that really for pleasure? I think so. One of the things that I found very helpful when it comes to getting back into the habit of reading is just going back to old standards. Like, if you had a favorite book series in high school or middle school or elementary school, now is a great time to start reading them again. Oh, puppy. Yes. For example, I have a favorite book series called The Enchanted Forest Chronicles. There are 4 books. They are a fairly quick read for each book, but they are one of those books that just like gets me interested in reading again. I've also been rereading Discworld books right now. It's one of my favorite series of books, and that's been really helpful too, because every time I stop reading or listening to the book, I can't stop thinking about picking the book up again. Another thing that I've started doing is exploring different genres. I recently got very into Agatha Christie, starting with a couple of Hercule Poirot movies based on my interest in Knives Out, and as a result, I have gotten a whole bunch of books that are very short that I can't stop reading because I have to know what happens next. You'll find that both of these things come from the same place of efficacy, where you make yourself want to read the book. With books that you've already read, you know what happens and you want to get to the good part. With books that you haven't read yet, you want to get to the next part because you don't know what happens next and you want to. I am not sure whether the Agatha Christie mysteries will have a lot of reread value just because the twist is very twisty, but if my short term memory continues to be terrible thanks to stress, then you know what? They actually have a lot of rereadability. Another thing about books you've already read is that they can be very comforting. If you've been experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety, knowing what happens in the book that you're reading can give you a welcome break from the uncertainty of the real world. When it comes to habits, one of the best ways to make a new habit is to replace an old one. So if you have the habit of scrolling on your phone first thing in the morning, you might put a book next to your bed and read a couple of pages before you get out of bed for the day. If you have a habit of watching YouTube or Netflix while you're eating your meals, you can replace that with a book. And if you have a habit of watching TV before bed, you can replace that with a book too. I'm not saying that you need to replace all free time that you would spend on your phone or watching TV or doing any other hobby with reading. All I'm saying is that there are a couple of times in the day when we are able to slow down a little bit and take time for ourselves. And you can choose to use that time on your book rather than on a piece of technology. One of the things that I used to do a lot was I had a 5 or 10 minute walk to work in underground tunnels. It sounds a lot cooler than it was, but I would fill that walk with reading because there was only so much space in the hallway, so there was a very limited amount that I needed to be aware of in my peripheral vision, so I could just read. It was wonderful. The bus was a wonderful opportunity to take out my book and read. There is also walking your dog. I also spend quite a lot of time outside walking my dog right now, and if I had a sponsor, now would be the time, but I don't. So I listen to audiobooks, which, in terms of reading, counts. Gemma, what are you doing? You can see your little tail. One of the side effects of only listening to audiobooks when I go for walks, Gemma, is that I get very excited to go for walks because I just want the excuse to listen to the next part of the story and see where it goes. One thing that I've also done if I need to motivate myself is turn on my audiobooks while I'm cleaning the house. And that makes it easy to just kind of zone out and get stuff done without worrying about the amount of time that I'm taking because I have a book to read. Oh, yes. If you find yourself unable to bring yourself to read, I would suggest switching formats. I used to read a lot on Kindle, TM, digital books, but I found myself hesitating to read a lot of those books because I just was tired of the ebook format. And to a degree, I was also reluctant to get books that I was interested in because I just didn't want to support Amazon.com, the company. As a result, I did some shopping on eBay as well as other independent used book sites and got a whole lot of books. Insert another clip of my bookshelf here. Swapping formats helped get me interested in reading again, partially because the smell of books is a drug, but also because I had a whole new experience waiting for me. If you've never tried audiobooks, I highly recommend it. Swapping formats can also help you see if there's something that fits into your life better than what you're doing right now. For example, if you do a lot of walking like I do, but never thought of audiobooks as an option, it might turn out really well for you. Or if you, like me, have a lot of sense memories related to paper books, probably try a paper book out. Give yourself permission to quit. I have a couple of books, including an Agatha Christie book that I just wasn't super into, and I stopped. And if I was forcing myself to finish that book before I moved on to another book, I would be waiting an awful long time because there are some things that we just shouldn't be forced to do, and I think finishing a book is one of them. There are enough unpleasant things going on in your life that you have to do, so you don't need to add another one in finishing a book that you don't like and possibly getting in the way of you reading a book that you actually do like. If you're not sure what you want to read, try reading a chapter of every book that you own. You could find something that you really enjoy, you could find some books that you need to declutter, but what happens is it gives you kind of a taste of what books that you have access to, therefore gives you an idea of what you're looking for, or also useful, what you're not looking for. These are some of the things that I've done and that you can do to get back into reading for pleasure, whether you've not read a book in a week or not read a book in 2 years that you've chosen to read for yourself. If you have any suggestions in addition to what I've laid out in this video, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear them, as well as letting me know what book you're excited about reading right now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it very much. My name is Morgan, and I'm trying my best. You guys have to see how Gemma is sitting right now. It's so freaking cute. Look at this. Oh my goodness. Alright, let's shoot some thumbnail pictures. Come here. Come here, baby. Come here. You gotta be part of this thumbnail. Okay. You have... Pretend you're reading this book with me.